Hey coders, Mr. Wagner here. We are going to begin on pong2. Pong2. All right, here we go. So where I left you off last time was on pong1. First thing we're going to do is we're going to do a file and then a save as. I'm going to go ahead and call this pong2. And then this second line of code, I'm going to say pong2. Okay. One thing I'm going to do here on this is I'm going to go into options, show line numbers. This may give us a little bit better because then I can tell you, okay, well, line 13 we'll do something with or whatever. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is here on line 11, notice how we got these two parentheses and these two parentheses, okay? And I want to discuss what that is all about. That is what's known as a tuple. Okay, so this 800, 600 with a parentheses around that, that is called a tuple, and that is a data structure that's unique to Python, and I find it very handy, okay? But when you're coding games and stuff, a lot of times when you're setting up the size of a window, you don't want to use like exactly 800 by exactly 600 all the time, because what if somebody has like a higher resolution display or a lower resolution display? So a lot of times what you do is instead of using like hard-coded numbers here, you'll set up what's known as a variable, okay? So let's set up a couple variables, and we are going to call those screen width, DTH, and I'm going to say equals 800, and screen height equals 600. Okay, right? Screen width and screen height. Okay, and so basically what I've done here is I've created a variable, a place in memory, a little hole in memory, I guess you could say, and I've stored the variable, the value 800 in there, okay? And I've done the same thing with height. So now anywhere below this line 9 and 10, I can, instead of saying 800, I can say screen width, okay? So here I'm going to type in screen width, and here I'm going to type in screen height, H-E-I-G-H-T, screen width, screen height. Okay, so let's run that real quick. Source will need to be saved, and it's saved as pong2. Okay, so it worked the same way. You see that? No big deal. One thing that I do want to show you though, this is important, is Python is very, very particular about lowercase and uppercase. So say for instance, like on line 9, I made that lowercase screen width. See, lowercase screen width. But down here on line 14, I hit uppercase screen width. See that? There's uppercase there, and this is lowercase, okay? Now what that's going to do is that's going to throw an error. And you'll see here, it says I've gotten down here to pygame_display.set model screen width, screen height, and it says screen width is not defined. Did you mean screen width? So you know, Python basically tells you, well, gee, you know, here's probably the problem. So you might have to, like, you know, scratch your head and go, oh, well, that's what happened, is I didn't capitalize that. So we'll recapitalize that. We'll run. Make sure everything is in beautiful working order, in which case it is. Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, so let's see here. So we've talked about variables. So these are variables. Okay, variables. Okay, so line 10 and 11 are variables. Okay, and screen width, screen height. Okay, very good. So now the next thing that we are going to do here and I'm going to give myself just a little bit of space, is I'm going to set up the standard Pygame game loop. Okay, so I'm going to say standard Pygame game loop. Okay. And if you are like Googling or something about Pygame or something like that, and you start looking at other people's codes, you will absolutely see sort of this exact way to do something. You'll see this, this game loop, okay? And the game loop really has kind of three big things in it. It has a while loop, and it has a for statement, and it has if statements, okay? And we will be going over each and every one of those three things along the way because they are like the critical building blocks of coding, especially in Python. Okay, so let's do a couple things. We're going to say game running equals true, capital T-R-U-E, okay. Now notice that that true is in orange. That is because that true is a value, and that value happens to be true, and the variable game running is a variable, and it is a special type of variable called a Boolean variable that, you know, it sounds real scary, but it basically means game running is either true or it's false. Okay, so either the game is running or it's not running. It's one or the other. It's not multiple ones. But anyway, so game running equals true. Okay, so here is our loop. So we're going to say while, and then we're saying game running, and then we put a colon. When I hit return, notice how it automatically tabbed over just a little bit. Okay. Basically, when you have a while loop, anything that is tabbed over at this level keeps happening until that while loop ends. Okay, so while, and then we're going to tab over. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a for loop in here. For event in pygame.event.get. You are going to get very used to this little bit of code, and you'll start to understand it after time. I realize we're only in pong2, so I'm not going to go into it real deeply right now, but we'll get into it more. And then we're going to say if event.type equals, you have to have two equals there, pygame .quit, colon, and then I'm going to say, oops, game running equals capital false. Okay? Just like that. Okay? Now I'm going to put another pound sign here as a comment. I'm going to say end of the while loop. Okay. So basically, I'm going to write all of my game stuff, you know, kind of like just right here in this area here, because it's inside that loop. And I want you to notice that I have a tab here. Okay, so basically everything in this while loop is everything at this tab level. Okay. And then I got this for statement ending with a colon, and everything in that for statement ends at this tab level. Okay, so you're going to get used to how these tabs, and then I have this if statement, and everything is the tab level. Okay, so, you know, if you've ever done programming like, you know, say in Java, everything had to be in, you know, the curly brackets, okay? But in Python, we use tabs and we keep everything neatly lined up. And for those of you like me who just like things really neat and organized and clean, you'll like this tab way that this coding is done. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this. Okay, File, Run. Let's save it. And we got this window. Now you notice how the window's not going away anytime. Okay, I've waited a few seconds. Now when I close the window, it's still not going away, and then it eventually went away. Any thoughts as to why that might be? Well, I'll tell you. It's basically because we still have this line 34 and line 35 in there, okay? We can go ahead and get rid of those. So I'm going to go ahead and select those and delete those lines of code. That leaves us with just pygame.quit, just like that, okay? And now if I run, here we go. And it's not going to do anything until I kill the window. So if I kill the window, then it'll go away. Okay. Now let's put in one other line of code in here. And remember I said I had this idle shell down here. Okay. Now if I ever wanted to put like some code, you know, like a message down here, then I can do that. And if I put like here on line 29, if I say print, and then parentheses, quote, game over, quote, parentheses, okay? So let me show you what happens there. When I hit run, we hit run, okay? The window's up. If I hit close, it says game over, okay? Kind of cool, right? And, you know, you can use those print statements anywhere. I can say print, open window, okay, just like that. And I hit run module, hit OK. Notice how it says open window, see down here. And then when I close this, then it'll say game over, okay? Now say for instance, you wanted to remove that, well you could just delete that line of code. Or here's a programmer's trick. Here's something that I use a lot, and I will just put a £sign in front of that, which basically means I have commented out that line of code. So it's no longer going to say open window. When I run it, you'll see that it is still there. I close that, and now it just says game over, okay? So, bottom line is you can use print statements anywhere. They're free. Feel free to use them as much as you want. And if you want to comment out code, you can, instead of like deleting it, in which case you might have to retype it, you can just put pounds in front of it. Okay, so I'm going to, actually I'm going to just delete line 16 because we really don't need that. I was just kind of going off. Okay. Let's do a file save and call it for pong2 and stay tuned, and I'm going to give you a pong3. Alrighty, take care, bye.